Hello everyone, and now I was thinking I will show you a battle from a tournament that is covered by immersaholic. This is the mod Divided Imperia, and it's a modification for Rome 2. Now this tournament is a Diadochi successor kingdom, so that they have to play with the successor kingdoms, and they all try to get supremacy. And they spin a wheel, essentially. And one of them got Epirus, and the other one got Seleucids. I don't know if both of them play with the regular pikemen based on the rule. Max 2 javelin men and 2 archers and 2 slingers, so you can't have 5 slingers and just shoot away. Anyway, this is set in the ancient times, and here we got the Epirus. Center line is the pikemen, of course, and then we have the supporting infantry. The Tyreosi spears, they are good against cavalry and can also counter elephants. Then we have these Agrianian peltas, and these men are flexible. They have both javelins that can throw armor piercing, very high damage, and they have axes. And then they have Sicilian cavalry, very cost-effective cavalry, and there he's facing the Seleucids. The Seleucids have taken the advantage of these woods, but they're going up now. They have some Imperial spears of their own. This is going to be a very similar setup in terms of units, because they're both successor kingdoms. Both of them are going to have pikemen, and both of them are going to be, you know, having pikemen, cavalry, and some supporting infantry on the flanks. So it's going to be an interesting tournament to watch, and I hope it's okay that I'm covering this. So the Seleucids seems to have less, like they have the archers, but they don't seem to have javelin men. So if it comes to like ranged engagements, since we both have armor, or the players have armor on their units, and some of them have very high shield, those archers may not be as effective. Whilst the Agrianian axes should be very effective and breaking either you weaken up a pike unit, or preferably the elephants, of course, or cavalry. But it's all about getting supremacy, because it's unlikely that they will engage straight up in the center, pike on pike combat. So the Seleucids seems to have a reserve line of hoplites of the light type. Not the best hoplites, the levy type. Less armor and all that. Which is a bit surprising, but it gives him some extra hoplites. He should have them already deployed on the flanks, and then the Tyreosi a bit behind or to the side of them. There's no real point in having them directly behind the main line, unless, of course, unless he already has defeat this attitude that he will lose the cavalry fight, and then he has somewhat of a reserve. But then the Tyreosi spears will probably be better covering the rear, as they cover a wider area. Hoplites don't really do that. So anyway, the Agrianian axemen are charging forwards, and the Tyreosi spears are trying to cover it, but the Agrianian axemen do have an advantage. Some of the Agrianian axes will hit these silver shield pikemen. So the Seleucids do have a little bit better. They have a bet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he has about 6 pikemen against 5 of the Epirus. But the Epirus are going up here in the flanks, which they should. They have superior supporting infantry compared to what the Seleucids has available to them. The Seleucids do have a bit more cavalry. No, it doesn't look like it actually. The Seleucids have better. Well, these Epirus, the elephants, are very scary and have archers on them, so they do provide a little bit of assistance. These Agrianian peltas are going to be very devastating. They can avoid these hoplites, they're simply faster. That's why the hoplites should have already been on the flanks. And then Seleucid spears a little bit behind the hoplites there. Because you see here there's no commitment here in the center. It's all about the flanking. Here comes the... he's trying to build a wall here to protect Seleucid spears, but these Seleucid spears are already losing to these Thesprotian infantry. They are armed with swords. These Agranians are good. They have axes, but these have swords, and they seem to fare much better against these lightly armored. Whilst the Agrianians will do much better against these more once they get to a flanking position. It's all about breaking the supporting infantry. Then you can just break the pikemen on the flanks. These archers are pretty much useless. They have nothing to really shoot at. These javelin cavalry got a few hits on this Thessalian cavalry, but not enough to be so yeah, right now there's a cavalry battle going on here. The Seleucids, is trying to get away. The Epirus is trying to get away with this cavalry. It's a bit faster than these early royal cavalry. So this should be fine. The Epirus general is trying to hunt down the Seleucid general. But the Seleucids are losing their supporting infantry. These Agrianians are like hurling javelins into the backs of these hoplites, and there's more Agrianians to be going up. You see that let's see here, the Agrianians are trying to run away from these Seleucid spears, but there's 2 against 1 here. The Seleucids actually managed to catch this Sarissa, but the Seleucids are also going to lose their Greek javelin cavalry over here. And the Seleucids have also lost their elephants here to... and the 1 levy hoplite pike. That one unit should be going back towards here, because there's no point in this one being here. All units here is faster than the hoplite units. There's no... this is unnecessary. So... but the hoplites are holding well against these sword units. This sword unit should just simply pull back, as it does have the speed. It can simply avoid the hoplites. Now, in desperation, the Seleucids are trying to use their superior numbers of pike units to, because this is a free speed pike unit, it does have the speed to match the Agrianians. Now the Seleucids realize that they should have committed their center earlier into the fight. And they are, even though these are similar, they are exactly the same. The Seleucids do seem to be winning this little pike fight rather well. It's all about the questioning, can they hold whilst their supporting infantry is crumbling? The Epirus still have the superior supporting infantry, and that will leave the Seleucids vulnerable. There's some brutal combat, and right now it's too close, and they don't really have much to develop from, because this levy hoplite, it cannot contest with a bronze pike unit head on. So it will have to either try to cover the flank here. It's trying to turn the pikes around and deal with the Agrianians, but that will also yeah, this levy pike unit is wavering, or levy hoplite unit is wavering. The Transposians are somewhat losing. The Agrianians are moving in now. They are probably out of javelins, and these archers cannot stop an Agrianian axe unit. Okay, they're hurling their javelins right into the back, which is exactly what the Epiroti needs. They seem to be losing their. Now the supporting infantry is going in here. They're gonna try to pincer these bronze shield pikes, or no. Look, okay, they're breaking there. That will save this unit. So now, if you manage to break these pike units, then the Seleucids are finished. They don't have the supporting infantry, and he must have realized that. And now he's breaking this. The pikemen's morale is very fragile if they actually get flanked. They're very formidable frontally if they have a secure flank, but if the flank is vulnerable, then they are much easier to deal with. The silver shield pikemen may be elite, but dealing with so many pike units, that is not going to happen. So the Epirus have a much higher concentration of infantry compared to the Seleucids. So that is what's going to happen. And let's see here, we have another silver shield pike unit. This pike unit should at least try to retreat. He's trying to, what the Seleucid generals try to do here is to break up this unit. If he had a fear ability, he could scare away this bronze shield pikeman. He did get the Agrianian axeman, but he's probably gonna rout himself. He's taking too much damage now, because since the updated mod, there's a much more higher devastation to cavalry if they get stuck in a melee fight with spearmen or pikemen or whatever that has bonus versus cavalry. So let's see what these yeah, you have a couple of bronze pikemen here, but that's not enough. Or is it? Well, he's shooting with this. We should shoot with the flaming arrows here to try to get the. But the Epirus had elephants here, so that is probably gonna break them. Ooh. Fight for your lives! The elephants have a fear effect, so they will scare the Seleucid infantry, and as they take casualties and they are very heavily flanked and all that, the Seleucid infantry is gonna rout. And there's no hope now. I can see some Furious spears, but not enough to counter pikemen. The pikemen will win, as they only need to we fight from the same direction as the Furious spears are coming from. The elephants are just gonna break havoc on these archers. Sorry. And yeah, they're gonna break, and now they only need to shatter these pikemen, and there's nothing else that this Seleucids can do about it. They have their cavalry has routed. They have no. Yeah, they're exhausted as well. See here, okay. A little bit more Sarissa fighting. Well, if you're familiar with the Successor Kingdom, they base their armies based on Alexander the Great. You know, Philip II of Macedon, he reformed the Macedonian kingdom, and he gave the infantry long pike to contend with that would he hoped would rival the Greek hoplite gear. So it was a very big change, because The pikemen had smaller shields but a higher, longer reach, and it could could get through armor. They have 5 rows of fighting men compared to the 3 of the hoplites. They had to sacrifice their little shield, sacrifice their armor and their shield to carry this long pike. But once in the melee in a flat ground, it was devastating. So that became the centerpiece of the Seleucids. They also had supporting infantry on the flanks, sort of the shield bearers or hoplites on the flanks. But over time, the supporting infantry got lighter. They realized that we need to be able to fight on every ground. So yeah, you can see here that this is the hoplite gear. The only difference here would be that I have a bit more armor on this, and maybe a little bit higher attack. But the pikemen would outclass these levy hoplites, and as most Greeks were levies essentially, called up no regular soldiery, so yeah. And then the cavalry would be the hammer and anvil, the hammer, going around routing and disorganizing the enemy infantry and killing them as they routed, because most casualties were from the routing. Like here, they wouldn't defend themselves and they would get killed. So yeah, it's been a while since I've covered and my name was essentially from the Imperia, because I used to upload like a lot of that was my plan anyway with starting this channel, and then I just started doing other stuff, and yeah, so it's good to be a bit back. I've been sort of like felt a little bit locked down. Once I started a Grand Tactician campaign, I have to play that one. Once I've started Ultimate Admiral, I do have to play that one to the finish. So I want to have a bit higher variation, but don't expect that many uploads. But I do hope that what I load up is however worth to take a look at. Anyway. So this was this for this battle. Now we can pretty much just speed forward as the army Seleucid took too many losses. They're gonna rout. So this tournament they fight 3 battles, not 1. So this was the first one. This was the first battle of the 3 and an Optimate one here. I like the setup with the pikemen and then having supporting infantry. It was a good setup. Aggressive with the javelin men. These hoplites were a bit obsolete, as they could have already been on the flanks if you wanted to extend your line more, because having them in the rear makes it like, yes, you have reserves, but you already have the premise that you will lose the cavalry fight. So then better to already have them on the flanks in that case, and then have the Sarissa near your cavalry to extend your line even further, so that if these Agrarians want to flank you, they will have to either engage the hoplites first, or then they have to go even further to the flank to help the cavalry perhaps, and then maybe you can get a flanking opportunity on the enemy pikemen instead. So yeah, good use of the elephants there. They were the game changer, and yeah, it was a good match overall. So yeah, the Seleucids did have the advantage in terms of their pike units. Yeah, good game to both players here. Thank you. Bye.